Hey everybody, hope y'all are having a good day so far, and today I'm gonna see if we can beat Dark Souls 3 by only using daggers. We start off by picking the Thief class, as it's the only class that starts with a dagger, and a few minutes later, after creating a beautiful character, our run begins. So the dagger that we start off with doesn't do the most amount of damage, but the bleed and critical damage is really gonna come in handy. This thing is also crazy good for backstabs. We take out this ice lizard for a good amount of souls and a Titanite scale that we'll never use, and then it's time for our first boss, Gundyr. Now let me just quickly go over the rules for this run. So obviously I'm only allowed to use daggers, but I'm allowed to use shields for parrying, and just for fun too, I'm allowed to use throwing knives. Since Gundyr is weak to bleed, this fight is pretty fast, and soon Gundyr goes down. After that, we do some hardcore parkour to get the tree jump on the first try. Yep, nailed it. First try. Anyway, while we're up here, we grab an Estus shard, and then the silver serpent ring, which will give us more souls per kill. We then travel over to the high wall of Lothric. Things go pretty normally here. We grab some gold pine resin, we obtain a Titanite shard, and then we grab another Estus shard. And then I explode, like usual. We grab the cell key, and then a ring of sacrifice, and then it's time for Vort to the Boreal Valley. We apply some lightning resin onto our dagger, and the damage we do isn't super great, but it's not too horrible either. We soon go into phase 2, and we're able to get the stagger off on Vort, and after we get the repost, he goes down. I was actually pretty impressed about the damage we were doing, and I was feeling pretty good about this run. After getting some VIP transportation, we arrive at the Undead Settlement. We speak to Yol of Londor, so he'll give us some free levels back at Firelink Shrine, and then after grabbing another Estus shard, I team up with my boy Sigurd to help take down this demon. While I'm up here, I grab Flynn's ring, which increases our attack power when our equip load is low, and then I grab the Calanthy ring, which increases our stamina recovery speed. After that, I figured it was time to take on the Curse Rotten Greatwood. Now this fight was actually a bit more difficult than I thought it would be, mostly because since the dagger is very short, it has a hard time reaching some of the weak points on the tree, and because of that it made the fight a lot more difficult. We were able to make it to phase 2, but unfortunately that didn't last super long. Well, I guess it's time to go level up. We sell some of the souls that we had picked up along our journey, and after that we have a whopping 31,000 souls. After getting some good levels into health, stamina, and dexterity, I figured it was time to go give the Curse Rotten Greatwood another try. With increased levels in stamina and dexterity, this fight became a lot easier. And with charcoal pine resin, we make quick work of a lot of the weak points on the tree. And soon, the tree boy goes down. After that boss is taken care of, I go back to the high wall of Lothric to free Grey Rat from his cell. He'll come in handy later. Back at Firelink Shrine, we talk to Yol and we get one free level of health. We then make our way to the Road of Sacrifices, where we pick up another Ember and another Estus shard. And after that, it was time to duke it out with the Crystal Sage. I throw on some more charcoal pine, and oh my god, that damage is crazy. At first I was a little bit worried that this fight was going to take me a while, but with a mix of human pine resin and the bleed, this fight was actually really easy. And not too long after the fight began, the Crystal Sage goes down. We get a few more levels into stamina, health, and dexterity, and then we send Grey Rat on his first pillage. We then speak to Yol to get our last free level of health. We pull a little bit of tomfoolery to get these two NPCs to fall down the ladder, and then it's time for Fair and Keep. We extinguish one flame, and then the second flame, but before putting out the third flame, we've got some stuff to pick up. We grab an undead bone shard, some twinkling titanite, and then we go through this invisible wall to get the Dream Chaser's ashes. We take out another demon to get a large amount of souls, and then I pick up something that I completely forgot about. The Brigand Twin Daggers. We make a quick pit stop at Firelink Shrine to get these daggers to +4, and then we're back at Fair and Keep. Now the moveset for these daggers is actually really good. The only issue is, like most daggers, is that they're really short range, so I really have to be up close and personal to the boss to do good damage. Then it was time to tackle the Abyss Watchers. I was really excited to see how much damage we were going to do. Holy crap, that is absolutely insane. With the added bonus of lightning damage on our daggers, the first phase goes down really easily, and soon it's time for phase 2. I almost die here in phase 2, but thankfully with some cowardly dodging and some very precise backstabbing, we get the Abyss Watchers at low health, and then I finish them off with some quick swipes of my daggers. Our next destination was the Catacombs of Karthus, where we pick up the Karthus Milk Ring, which increases our dexterity. I make a quick detour to grab the Grave Warden's ashes, and then it's time for a High Lord Wolnir. We were able to take out the first bracelet pretty easily, and then I target the other two. It took a little bit longer than I would have liked it to take down the third bracelet, but finally, Wolnir goes down. After that, we do a little bit of backtracking to take out this demon boy for some extra souls, and then we head down to Smoldering Lake to pick up some large Titanite shards. Then soon it was time to pay the old Demon King a visit. We throw on the Grass Crest shield to increase our stamina regeneration, and the fight begins. Yeah, that's not the best damage. This fight lasted a little bit longer than I thought it would, but thankfully the old Demon King is old, which means he's slow, which means this boss is actually pretty easy, and soon he goes down. We head back to Firelink Shrine where we sell all the souls that we had collected, and then with a whopping 162,000 souls, it was time to level up. We get a good amount of levels into health and stamina. I then have a pretty goofy idea, and before I know it, I'm taking on the Dancer. So as you can see right off the bat, our damage kind of sucks. But the reason why I'm taking on the Dancer now, because once we beat her, we're able to go to places that is filled with Titanite chunks, which is crucial to get our weapons up to max level. It takes a few tries, but finally the Dancer goes down. After moving past the Dancer, we go on a shopping spree and pick up a bunch of items that will help us in the future. After we're done shopping for the day, we go back to Firelink Shrine and get some more levels into health and strength. We then head over to the Cathedral Church, where I pick up an Estus Shard, an Undead Bone Shard, and then a little deeper into the Cathedral, we pick up Lloyd's Sword Ring, which increases our attack power when we have full health. And soon it's time to take on the Deacons of the Deep, and our damage is actually looking pretty good. Honestly, this fight isn't anything too special, it was a lot easier than I thought it would be, and soon, the Deacons go down. We put some more levels in the stamina, and then we arrive at Ithriel, looking drippy as hell. I engage with this dog in a friendly game of Run the Hell for Your Life. After getting a bonfire, we head back to Firelink Shrine to send Greyrat off to pillage Irithiel. I'm sure nothing will go wrong. Back at Irithiel, we pick up a bleed gem, which once infused with a dagger of our choice, will cause that dagger to do bleed damage. I then run into my dog friend, who was a little bit too excited to see me again. Then me and my boy Sigurd chill out by this fire, and I took some time to recover from my traumatic experience. After hanging out with that absolute legend, it was time to go face Pontiff. Now since my last video, I've actually gotten really good with this fight, and so I wasn't worried about a thing. It turns out I should have been worried about some things, like his sword. Yeah, I better take notes on that. Next try, I decided to show Pontiff what Splunker was really made of. A few satisfying parries later, and Pontiff goes to phase 2. After showing Pontiff who the real boss of the area is, he goes down. Then after donning some new drip, we make our way to Anor Londo. Before taking on Aldritch, we go ahead and grab the giant skull. We grab another Estus Shard, and then I just escaped this terrifying looking spider. Whew! Then it was time to face off against Aldritch. I throw on some fire on my daggers, and the fight begins. And our damage isn't looking super great. Even with the fire applied, we weren't doing as much damage as I was hoping for. This might take a while. It takes a while, but we soon get Aldritch into phase 2, and then we finally take her down. After taking out Aldritch, we go back to Firelink Shrine to sell all the souls that we had collected, and then we level up our dexterity to 29. After doing that, we send Greyrat to go pillage Lothric Castle. I'm sure nothing will go wrong here. Oh boy. And then we backtrack to the worst area of the game, Irithiel Dungeon. Thankfully though, we get to see our friend, the man, the myth, the legend, Sullivan. Anywho, a little later down the line, we take out this chest and he gives me an Estus shard. We then enter the profaned capital. Before I can take on Yorm the Giant, I've got to go say hi to an old friend. Sigurd! I was hoping I'd find you here. Listen, I'm putting together a team. After freeing Sigurd, it was time to take on Yorm the Giant. I was pretty nervous because since I'm only allowed to use daggers, I knew I couldn't use the Storm Ruler, which is the weapon that is really good against Yorm. So I was getting prepared for a long and tedious fight when suddenly he appeared. With Sigurd fighting on my side and with him wielding a powerful Storm Ruler, I felt a lot more confident about this fight. The fight was actually a lot shorter than I thought it would be, and with a few powerful swings from Sigurd's Storm Ruler, and with a few very ineffective swings from my daggers, the giant falls. After the fight, I take a few moments to hang out with the absolute legend Sigurd, and then we part ways for the final time. Once we return to Firelink Shrine, we head over to Andre and upgrade our Estus flask a few times. We then infuse the twin daggers with a sharp gem, which makes this weapon scale better with dexterity. After that, it was time to head back up to Lothric Castle and fight the Dragon Slayer armor. Now I was actually a bit surprised, but the damage we were doing was actually really good. Not long after we get the Dragon Slayer armor to phase 2, we actually cause him to stagger, which is something I've only been able to do a handful amount of times. And a few minutes later, after some tense combat, the Dragon Slayer armor falls. After that fight was over, we push on to the Grand Archives. Things go pretty normally here. I take out this wannabe Crystal Sage for a good amount of souls. And then we take a quick pit stop to check on an old friend. Thank you for your service, Grey Rat. As we ascend to Lothric Castle, we grab an Estus shard, and then we grab the Hunter's Ring, which increases our dexterity by 5. I equipped the Hunter's Ring and Pontiff's right eye so we could get some extra damage, and then it was time to fight Lorien. Now I was actually pretty surprised about how much damage we were doing. And because of the absolute insane amount of damage we were doing, it didn't take long at all to get Lorien into phase 2. Unfortunately, it didn't take them long to take me out of phase 2. Ouch. Thankfully, it didn't take long at all to get back to Lorien and get him back to phase 2. Now I mentioned this in my last video, but during this phase, it's very important to go for Lothric instead of Lorien, because if Lorien goes down while Lothric is still up, Lothric will resurrect him, but if you take down Lothric first, then Lorien will not resurrect, which is pretty awesome. With our daggers doing extra lightning damage, it didn't take long at all for both princes to get weak, and soon they go down. Only one boss remains. After taking down Lothric and Lorien, we head back to Firelink Shrine and we give the handmaiden Grey Rat's ashes. Once again, we sell all the souls that we had collected on our journey, and then we buy 6 embers along with some golden pine bundles from Grey Rat's ashes. Thanks, Grey Rat. We then head over to the Firekeeper to get our dexterity level to 35 and our strength to 20. And then we make our way over to Andre, getting our daggers to max level. After that, it was time for Splunker to go fight the final boss, the Lord of Cinder. We throw some lightning onto our daggers, and the final showdown begins. And oh my goodness, that is some crazy damage. didn't take long to get Lord Ascender down to phase 2, and this is when I started to get a little bit worried, as one of his combos can do an insane amount of damage if I get hit by it. Even though he was in phase 2, we were still doing a pretty decent amount of damage, and with the additional lightning damage we were dealing, I was feeling pretty confident about this. And after a few minutes of very high octane, intense combat later, the Lord Ascender falls, completing my Daggers only run in Dark Souls 3. Now, as Splunker reunites the first flame, it's time to answer the question that we asked ourselves in the beginning of the video. Can I beat Dark Souls 3 by only using daggers? And the answer is yes. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Fun fact, I have been on and off working on this video for like 2, almost 3 months. So yeah, I'm super happy that it's finally out. I'm super happy that you guys watched it and hopefully enjoyed it. And even though these take me a long time to make, I still like genuinely really enjoy making them. And I'm gonna be making more. So yeah, more on the way. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you all have a great day, night, morning, afternoon, whenever it is you're watching this. And I'll see you on the next one. Thank you.